An urban center of influence in Chile serves immigrants. The Adventist Church in the South Pacific helps people with diabetes. And the sights and sounds of Baltimore. All this and much more coming up next. Hello and welcome to Mission 360. I'm Gary Krause. Today's program is coming to you from the city of Baltimore in Maryland in the United States. And I'm standing in Fort McHenry. And during the 1812 war, this fort successfully defended Baltimore against the British. Today, of course, the inner harbor, which stretches through here, is a place where many tourists come for the cafes, for the tall ships, and for the scenic environment. Very different situation back in 1812. On today's program, we're going to be looking at mission here in Baltimore, around the world. But first up, let's travel to Suva, Fiji, which happens to be my birthplace.
I was working in the office. All of a sudden, I was feeling dizzy and my head started swinging. They took me to hospital and the doctor examined me and told me that you've got diabetes. That's when I came to know that I had diabetes. My name is Sunil Dutt and I'm 58 years old.
A deadly pandemic is sweeping across the South Pacific, where the world's highest incidence of type 2 diabetes is found. In Fiji alone, 1 in 3 people are diagnosed with this disease. For many patients, diabetes leads to serious complications, such as amputation. Today, 80 people will have an amputation in this region. That's 1 amputation every 10 minutes.
Then they transferred me to Cerebrum Hospital, where I was told that through the diabetes I have got heart attack. And that's the time, first time I had a feeling that I'm finished now. I had my operation. Through that cause of diabetes, the blood was not flowing properly. Ten times I went to operating theatre in Fiji. And they had to cut 10 times, part by part. And today I don't have both legs. You can see the both legs is finished. So I didn't think about my health at that time because I was young, I was powerful. That thing didn't affect me same time. But once in the hospital, then I started feeling that what I have done to my life. And that's how I got my leg off. Without leg, there is nothing left in my life now. I was so active. And today I'm like, I cannot go anywhere. Just because of my leg. It doesn't allow me to go anywhere. As you can see, my family is affected too much, especially my wife. Without her, I'm dead. Through her, I survived. And today, I'm still alive. If she was not there, I could have died by now.
Like Sunil, many people in the South Pacific are at risk of losing their toes, their limbs, or even their lives to type 2 diabetes. But the Seventh-day Adventist Church is determined to do something about it. Adventist Health and ADRA have partnered to launch the public health campaign called the 10,000 Toes. The campaign seeks to save the lives and limbs of people affected by this tragic disease through a multi-stage approach. A portion of your 13 Sabbath offering this quarter will provide patients and their families with user-friendly diagnostic kits for early detection of type 2 diabetes. Part of your gifts will also help implement community-based programs that encourage the public to take charge of their health. Your support will train medical professionals to help stamp out diabetes in the South Pacific. The people need your help and prayers. Thank you for your support of the 13 Sabbath offering.
We're on the campus of Loma Linda and my guest is Dr. Tiffany Priester. Dr. Priester, thanks so much for joining us. Now, this is home for you. You grew up in this area, right?
I did.
And you are now someone who has served for many years as a missionary. Where did that first vision, that first idea of being a missionary come to you?
Well, growing up here, of course, doctors come back from overseas, back to their alma mater, the Loma Linda University, and I would hear their stories, and I was inspired to go out as well.
So you chose to become a doctor specifically so you could do mission service?
Yes, but I also enjoyed it. You know,
Okay.
they say to choose something where you feel God calling you, and you can also have your own talents, your God-given talents, to be used.
So they work together. So how many years were you working in Africa?
5 years.
And at the hospital in Malawi, it was an urban hospital?
Yeah, it was in the city, a city of about 1 million people in a country of about 16 million people.
Okay, so this country of 16 million people, you were the only cardiologist in the entire country.
That's right.
What were some of the, give me an example of somebody you were able to help and on an ongoing basis.
Sure. I actually, because I was the only cardiologist, got to help everyone. From the very poorest of the poor, they came in with no shoes and calluses on their feet, and we were having the nurses scrub the dirt out from between the cracks, all the way up to politicians. Even once in the 5 years, I got to take care of the ambassador from America to Malawi. Several political figures and the local business people. So basically, everyone top to bottom in the socioeconomic status.
What was the hardest thing when you were serving there?
I think the hardest thing is to adjust to mission work as a day-to-day thing. You know, it's not something you can prepare for. Sometimes you go on a short-term trip and you think, okay, I'm going for 10 days and this is going to be my plan. And I think it's more frustrating to say, okay, I need a 1-year plan and a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, an exit plan, an entry plan, and holding that vision even when you're tired, even when it's late at night, even when you don't want to anymore, I think is the biggest struggle.
Yeah. Now, I grew up in a family where every day for family worship we would pray for the missionaries. I don't hear a lot of that going on today, and it seems to me that sometimes we forget about the missionaries serving there. Did you ever feel that way when you were serving?
Sometimes. It is kind of difficult, you know. I'd come back home on leave and I'd see an Adventist article, you know, this man is going to some foreign country for 10 days, help him and look at the wonderful things he did. And I'd think, I'm here for 30 days and I'm going back and I've already been there for 3 years. And I would love to have some more features of our current missionaries. We have 23 medical doctors and 7 dentists out, and I would like to help us remember those people, to support them, to give them the support they need, because we don't want any of them to feel that they're not supported with our prayers and our love here while they do God's work.
I've also heard stories sometimes of missionaries who return and it's like nobody really wants to talk to them or hear their stories. Have you ever heard of that sort of thing happening?
Sure.
Yeah.
There is some kind of saturation depending on where you're at, and I think some people are uncomfortable with the idea that if they hear a mission story from overseas, maybe they think they're supposed to go overseas. Maybe that's what they're called to, and that's a very uncomfortable feeling. And I would like to share that each person has their own talents. 1 Peter 4:10, each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. You know, not everyone should go overseas. And I think if people come and hear those stories, they should be inspired to help out in their local communities. Shine your light where you are. And I think we could do better if we would ask our missionaries to talk, to share their stories, and then to apply it to our daily lives in our own hometown.
Right. And of course, people who may not feel called to go overseas, they are still called to pray for and support mission, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Bible is full of those stories. Ellen White is full of counsel on that. It's very clear that for those people who do leave their own hometown and go to another hometown, we have an obligation to support them. And those people who are here have an obligation to help local, to help regional, and to help abroad.
Tell me about the DMA program, the Deferred Missionary Appointee program.
Sure, the program starts when you're in medical school or dental school. You can sign up for the program and tell the General Conference that when you finish your training, you would like to go out as a missionary. In return for your service, they help to pay back your student debt so that you don't have to worry about that while you're out. Currently, the calls are 5 years long, and so it is a commitment of time. And I would say to anyone considering that sort of work, try 1 month during your training, see how it goes.
Right. Now, was this helpful for you in going as a missionary?
Yes. There's a network of people supporting you. We met other missionaries from other faith denominations that were out and had a lot less support than we were receiving from the General Conference. So going through a structured program where people are supporting you and they're willing to help and they're willing to set up structure. For example, we are allowed to come back once a year to visit our family, and it's not every missionary that has that kind of support behind them where they can. So being part of a program has its benefits.
Right, and of course you could have graduated, gone into private practice and paid your student debt off much quicker.
That's true.
But this did enable you to make it a little easier for mission service.
That's right. It's not a loan repayment program per se. You could do it quicker on your
Right.
own, but it does allow people with high debt to be able to be out.
Okay. What I understand that although you have now returned to America, Africa's still close to your heart and you still have a commitment. Tell me what you're doing.
So we've committed 10 weeks a year for mission service, and we continue to go back. We're trying to do 2 5-week trips during the year to continue to help. But also, I would like to get the message out about those missionaries who are out there, who need our support from back here while we're here.
Right, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining with us and sharing today. Viewers at home, what a tremendous challenge there is still in many parts of the world where healthcare is very, very poor, where the need is great. And let's never forget about the missionaries who are out there serving. Let's pray for them. Let's continue to support them financially. Let's remember them in our hearts, because it can be lonely, it can be challenging, it can even be discouraging. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Baltimore in Maryland in the United States. And right behind me here you can see this magnificent building, which is City Hall. Next up we travel south to Santiago, Chile, and we visit an urban center of influence.
I'm in Santiago, which is the capital of the country of Chile in South America, and I'm here with my friend Cloudy.
Hello, Lori.
Cloudy, I understand that you are working with 1 Year in Mission.
Well, this is a very good project on your mission. I'm directly working with Life Hope Center.
Okay. And why did you decide to come to Chile?
Well, this is a very good question. And when I left my country for the first time, I went to Dominican Republic. Then there, it was not a very good opportunity for me to survive. Like, I recently get done with my university, 2 years university in Loma Linda, and I've learned many things that I can work all over the world. But in Dominican Republic, I didn't have many options. Then I came to Chile, and I knew that it's different. I came to look for another opportunity of life.
Okay. And what people group do you work with specifically?
Well, in Chile, this year I spent my whole year in volunteer missionary. And right now I'm working with Asian people. Asian people in Chile, they are a lot. They don't speak Spanish, they don't know about Chile, and I am here to help them to know the culture, to learn Spanish. I teach Spanish to them in the Life Hope Center. And also, I help them understand things Jesus has done and Jesus has taught on the past time. Then they can survive with very good hope today to have a better life.
Okay, so you help the Haitian people to actually integrate into the Chilean culture.
Exactly.
And get jobs and settle down,
Exactly.
put roots down
But
here.
when they come, they don't know anything about Chile. And I say, wow, like a lot of Asian people here in Chile, they don't know what to do. Then the first problem of them is Spanish. And I know Spanish. I say, yeah, I can teach Spanish. And the program invited me I can be able to teach them Spanish. And they are very happy and knowing and learning Spanish. Not only Spanish, also they are learning about Chilean culture. It's very important for them. Like 2 times we take them to the museum to know the story of Chile or things were, and that they help him so much to understand where they are living.
Can you share an experience with me of, say, one person that you've really helped make a difference in their life?
Well, first of all, I can share briefly my experience like a missionary. In Chile, like in this project, I'm living with Brazilian, with Peruvian, and I mentioned also Chilean. And before that, I was living with Asian. And here is a very good experience for me working for the Metropolitan Associations of Chile. They teach me how to speak, how to preach. They teach me how to like making healthy food, also prophecies of Bible that I can teach other person, and it's a very good experience. Like briefly, in the center, I have great contact, like close contact to the person. When I teach Spanish, I also observe who is okay, who is not okay. Then one time, I got many stories, but one time this story has make many sense to my life. I've met a little girl. It's not a little girl. Yeah, she get married in 80. She left a kid and her husband. She come to Chile. When she come to Chile, things were very good for her. And one time I see her like she's so sad, and I get close by. I say, "What's going on? What happened?" And she start to tell me about the story, and she start to cry a lot. And I felt like so bad. And I say, yeah, we want to help you. We are going to help you. Are you okay? Yes, vamos. They say, let's go. In Spanish is vamos. So we started to help her to pray with her, to teach her how to resolve their problem with the Bible, to know about Jesus. And sometimes we go to her house to give her food and to see where she lives. And she is very cool. She like 2 weeks later, a lot of change in her life. Then she is very grateful to that. And this story for me makes a lot of sense, because in the church, I can help, and I can help anywhere. But teaching Spanish, I love that. Being with the people, I love that. And I also learned with this experience that Jesus exactly did the same. With the people, like try to help them. And I also understand that this is the very good way to take people to Jesus when you're with them.
So you're following Christ's method of ministry.
Exactly.
I'm curious as to how the Haitian people react to this kind of outreach. Do you think it's completely unexpected to them that somebody would help them?
Well, in Asians, they are so like, how can I say that? Asians are always happy to receive from other people, also to share with them. Well,
right.
But in Chile, it was so difficult for them like to understand many things that like we are doing right now is very comfortable with them. They are very happy with that. And people not only coming to learn Spanish or culture, they are assisting to the church. They are coming to the church.
Oh, so you're not just helping people integrate into the culture and learn the language. You're actually bringing people to Jesus and establishing new believers in the faith. That is wonderful. Claudia, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you, Lori, for your questions. It's very important for me to be here in the One Union Mission to serve God, to Christ's method. It's very important for me.
Now, I understand, too, that we are sandwiched, this Urban Center of Influence is sandwiched between an Adventist school and an Adventist church, and both entities are working together with the Life Hope Center.
Exactly. Three working together, the school, the church, and the Life Hope Center. Life Hope Center is in the middle.
That's wonderful. Viewers at home, I ask that you please remember our one-year missionaries in prayer and also our urban centers of influence, not only in Chile, but all over the world. Thank you.
Next, we travel back to the South Pacific to the beautiful Solomon Islands.
Yeah, I think my life would be different from another person my age because I have more responsibility than them, and sometimes I don't go out much with friends. I just stay at home and look after my mom. So yeah, I don't do most things girls my age would do.
A deadly pandemic is sweeping across the South Pacific, where the world's highest incidence of type 2 diabetes is found. In the Solomon Islands alone, 60% of hospital beds are occupied by diabetic patients. For many of them, diabetes leads to serious complications such as amputation and blindness. Today, 80 people will have an amputation in this region. That's one amputation every 10 minutes.
I had this itchiness on my ankle. I thought it's just a little sore, but it gradually grew. So I was taken to the hospital. That's when they found out that I had diabetes. I can't move anywhere, and then my feet is not level. When they took off the toes, my feet sort of started balance. In 2014, that's when my eyesight got worse. I can't see properly.
Now that my mom is blind, I'm the one who does the cooking and the cleaning and everything around the house. So basically my daily life is just looking after my mom, and it's usually me too who looks after my brother and my sisters. So I'm kind of like partially taking my mom's responsibility as a mother. Sometimes I might think of it as a burden, but then sometimes I think about it and realize that I have no choice.
Like Talita, many people in the South Pacific are at risk of losing their toes, their sight, or even their lives to type 2 diabetes. But the Seventh-day Adventist Church is determined to do something about it. Adventist Health and ADRA have partnered to launch the public health campaign called the 10,000 Toes. The campaign seeks to save the lives and limbs of people affected by this tragic disease through a multi-stage approach. This quarter, a portion of your 13 Sabbath offerings will support the 10,000 Toes campaign. It will also construct studios for Hope TV and radio in the island of Tonga and assist in the production of a 13-part animated series for children following the adventures of Daniel and his 3 friends. Please pray for the South Pacific Division, and thank you for your support of the 13th Sabbath offering.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Mission 360. As we've seen on today's program, mission is happening in very different contexts around the world, from small Pacific islands through to urban jungles such as the city of Baltimore. And I want to thank you so much for being part of the Adventist Mission team, through remembering mission in your prayers, through remembering mission through your offerings. Well, for Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope that you can join me next time right here on Mission 360.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears believe. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first